play there?
Well, yeah, they do such a good job of running the football right now that you've got to devote more defenders to stopping the run, and it isolates your defensive backs in one-on-one situations, and they've done a great job of exploiting that. They've taken deep shots in certain personnel groupings over the top, and they've connected with them, and obviously that increases your average per completion when you're able to do that. So they've done a good job with that to complement their run game.
Front row right, Tim. Yeah, Tim May, Columbus Dispatch. Chris, when you look at Cobb, their running back, what stands out about him? He seems to be one of the more spectacular runners in the country right now. What just jumps out to you to him?
Well, it starts with their offensive line. They're doing a great job of blocking up front for him, and then he's a hard runner. When he gets that ball, he's a downhill runner. They run a nice A-gap power, and they're not looking to bounce it. He's looking to run downhill, and he's a hard runner, and he gets the yards. He keeps his legs driving all the time. So, I mean, he's a load. He's a challenge, and he fits well with their scheme.
The other thing, Saturday night, like Urban talked about this a little while ago, maybe y'all didn't relax maybe, but you got a little bit more of a prevent kind of situation or whatever it went on. What are the things y'all learned from that fourth quarter you think will help you?
Well, anytime you get into that situation, the thing that you continually try to stress to your team is you got to finish, especially when you're facing a good opponent. I thought we had played an okay game through the first three quarters. It started off a little slow, settled down the second and third quarter, and played decent, really until about the 12-minute mark of the fourth quarter when we were up 42-24. We gave up 2 touchdowns there in the last 12 minutes, and they weren't pretty either. Really disappointed with how we finished that game, and that's something that we've got to continue to build on. It's happened a little bit to us before in the previous games, more with some of the backups, and we put them in. We weren't able to finish games the way we wanted to come out on a positive note, and we have to learn to do that. I mean, I think we got kind of comfortable on defense because we were up 42-24, 12 minutes to go. We had a couple takeaway opportunities in one of those drives that if we would have maybe gotten a fumble or an interception that we had an opportunity to get, it might have changed things. But bottom line is we didn't finish the game the way we wanted to, and very disappointed and upset about that.
And one of the quickie, Eli Apple, I don't think he started the game. He was on the stationary bike, but he came in. It actually seemed to lift the defense.
Yeah.
What do you see about him that's different from 5 or 6 weeks ago? Do you see a confidence? What do you see about Eli?
Well, I see a kid that continues to mature. His confidence continues to grow. Saturday night was a great challenge for Eli. It was a great opportunity to see for us to see how he was going to respond. He did not practice at all last week. Did not take 1 rep at practice. And leading up to the game, even on Saturday morning, we weren't sure if Eli was going to be able to play or not. So we made the decision to start Garyon Conley. Went through the first couple drives there. We just got to a point. We said, Eli, you got to go, and Eli said, I'm ready. So he went in there and he played, and didn't play his best football at the end of the game. Gave up a touchdown in the fourth quarter. That was disappointing, but throughout the course of the game, from when he went into that point, he made some plays both in the run game and in the pass game. Great opportunity for us to show, or for Eli to show us where he's come from, and excited about his future because of that. I mean, showed some grit, some determination, some guts, some toughness that honestly we didn't know Eli had.
Fourth down play. I mean,
absolutely. They'd run that same play on us earlier in the game. They got called for holding. Eli was okay the first time. Tyvis Powell wasn't quite where he needed to be. We got it fixed on the sideline. They came back and did it on a fourth down. We fit it the right way, and Eli was at the point, setting the edge, and actually made a great play. But Eli showed a lot of character in that game, again, because he hadn't practiced all week. And there were some things that he could have done better. We'd like to have him do better in the game, but a lot of it had to be contributed to just a lack of practice time throughout the week.
Front row, Bill.
Bill Rabinowitz, the Dispatch.
Yep.
You were brought in to install that aggressive defense. You guys had 8 pass breakups on Saturday. Was that pretty close to what you wanted to see and implement with this defense?
That's always part of it. At the end of the day, you want to play well enough to win the game, and we were able to do that. Disappointed with the total number of yards that they got at the end, but some of the pass breakups specifically in the first half that we were getting, we were playing some pretty tight man-to-man with some pressure, and we weren't necessarily getting there with pressure, but we were playing tight with our coverage, and we got some PBUs. Would have liked to have had a couple takeaways in there, but at the end of the day, disappointed with how we finished the game. But I thought throughout the course of the game, especially in the second and third quarter, we were playing pretty good pass defense. We're in tight coverage, got our hands on balls, making them throw into tight windows, and that's what we want to be able to do consistently. We just didn't do it for 4 quarters.
Disappointed with the run defense?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure Coach probably hit on it. We played well enough to win the game, but we didn't play up to Ohio State standards Saturday night. And we're not measuring ourselves on what others do. We're measuring ourselves on what we do. And Saturday we didn't play up to our full potential defensively for 4 quarters. We had spurts and we had moments that we played well enough there in the second and third quarter, like I said. But we have to play better if we want to win at a high level and compete for championships. We have to play great defense, and that's both run defense and pass defense. And Saturday night we didn't play well enough as a defense, and we've got to do a better job.
Far left, Rusty.
Chris, how does Minnesota utilize its tight ends, in particular Max Williams at number 88?
Well, he's a traveler. He's a guy that motions around. They put him as a wing a lot of times. He motions around. He's a lead blocker at the point of attack. He's a guy that gets down the field on a lot of play actions, whether it's verticals, wheel routes, to try to get behind the coverage. He can get matched up on corners. He's got a little size advantage on some smaller DBs and goes up and makes some nice plays down the field. But he's a good all-around player, good blocker at the point of attack. Like I said, can get down the field and stretch you vertically in the play-action pass game, can go up and jump and make some catches in the air on some smaller DBs. So he's a handful.
Middle second row, Jeff.
Jeff Svoboda with Buckeye Sports Bulletin. Coach Meyer was just in here and said he watches the film and kind of sees how, he can see what the buy-in is on the film. He sees how guys support each other, how guys react to things, and he kind of said he was pretty pleased with how that's coming along. Obviously, as a coach, that's what you want, but to actually kind of have it, what does that open up for you, and what does that just really kind of help you do as a coach?
Well, if you don't have the buy-in, you don't have the belief in what you're doing and belief in each other, you don't have a foundation to do anything, to be honest with you. And that's the thing that we do have here. We talk about it defensively. We weren't happy with the performance and production on Saturday night, but it all starts that these kids believe in what we're doing. They've bought into what we're doing. They give great effort. They study the game. And when you have that, you have a chance to be successful, and you can get problems corrected when you have that. It's when they don't have belief, they start pointing fingers, they start complaining, they start blaming others, then you've got a real issue. And we do not have that on this football team in any phase, offense, defense, or special teams. So when you have that, it's a special group to coach.
Front row, middle, Todd.
Chris, Todd Porter from the Canton Repository. With Minnesota, it's kind of a no-frills offense. Like they're going to line up and run the football at you. Do you guys go back to some of the basic fundamentals of forming up and tackling this week and stress that more so in practice this week because of the nature of the offense?
Well, not necessarily tackling, because tackling is such a big emphasis for us to begin with. If you're going to be any good on defense, whether it's pass game or run game, you've got to be good at tackling. And I think so far this year we've been pretty good at our tackling, and that's because of the emphasis that we've put on it. What we really have to get back to is emphasizing the fundamentals of run fits. We have to be in the right spot. We've got to be more explosive with our block destruction to be able to get off blocks and make tackles. Those are some of the things we did not do a good enough job on Saturday against Michigan State that we've got to do a better job against Minnesota's run game, is just fitting the runs the right way, being more violent with our hands, getting off blocks, get more guys at the point of attack. So if something is wrong, it doesn't turn into a 10, 15-yard gain. It's it's a 3, 4, or 5-yard gain, and you can get them down. That's where we've got to be better.
Front row, Dave.
Hi, Chris. Dave Biddle from Bucknuts. Which defensive player has improved the most since the beginning of the season?
It's probably hard to point out one individual, because collectively I think the whole unit has really improved. Some of the younger players have probably made more strides and more improvement just because their ceiling is so high and they started so low. We've already talked about Eli Apple as one individual, but there's been several individuals on the whole team. Units, D-line has improved. We've got to continue to find some depth. Some of the linebackers improved, DBs. So I don't like to point out any individual because I'll leave somebody out, but collectively there's been a lot of improvement. And again, a long way to go. We're not playing at a championship level right now on defense like we want to be, but there has been a lot of steady individual improvement.
Has there been a unit that's improved the most? Like Coach Meyer talks about offensively, the offensive line has improved the most. Is there a unit defensively that's improved the most over the other
Well,
two?
the two units are probably the least experienced would be the linebackers and the secondary that have both continued to grow. But collectively, even some of the older, more veteran guys up front have shown a lot of improvement. I mean, Joey Bosa from last year to this year has shown a lot of improvement. Michael Bennett continues to show improvement. Some of the backup D linemen, Rashad Frazier has shown tons of improvement so far this year. So at all three positions, I think we've had steady improvement. There's not one area that's drastically improved from where we were last spring or last season to where we're at right now. I think there's been steady improvement by all areas.
Can you tell us what's going on with Armani Reeves, and will he play this week?
That I can't comment on. I'm not sure about that.
And the last question, Austin.
Austin Ward with ESPN.com. In the preseason, there was all this talk about Michael Bennett being maybe an All-American, All-Big Ten player. Now those things are usually based on statistics. He doesn't pile up many of them. What does he do? What is he doing that would still make him a player of that caliber for your defense?
Well, then sometimes for those interior defensive linemen to get statistics, it's kind of hard because they're spending a lot of time getting double teamed. For him right now, for us, he does provide double teams inside to make cleaner pictures in the run game for the linebackers. He does get after the quarterback and may not get the sacks, but he's in the face of the quarterback. He's a guy that the offensive line or offensive coordinator from an opponent always has to account for. And when you put Joey Bosa in there, you know, they've got two guys that they really have to worry about that are explosive players. They have playmaking ability. They're disruptive. And Michael Bennett, although he may not have the stats that Joey Bosa has done an outstanding job for us being disruptive both in the run game and in the pass game so far this year.
Would you still put him up there as a all Big Ten performer?
From what I've seen from other teams on defense, absolutely.
And did Bosa feel a little frustrated on Saturday night? What did you see out of him, Chris? Because obviously they seemed to game plan for him pretty well.
Well, to be honest, I don't know if they game plan for him or not. I'll give their offensive line a lot of credit. They played a very good game Saturday night, both in the run game and in the pass game. They protected the quarterback well, and that's really what they have done a good job of all year. They've only given up 5 sacks. And we were able to get them one time on Saturday night, but we knew that was going to be a challenge, not necessarily just because of their offensive line, but because of their offensive system. They get rid of the ball quick. They don't have the quarterback back there holding the ball and allowing pressure to get there very often. So it's a credit to what they do schematically. It's a credit to their offensive line that they were able to control our pass rush throughout the night. Even when we blitzed, we had trouble getting there. We did force some quicker throws, but you know, Joey was frustrated. I mean, he's a highly competitive guy that wants to get production, wants to make a difference in a game. And Saturday night, although the stats might not have been there like you would expect Joey Bosa to have, but he was still being pretty active, and they had to account for him. But I'll give Michigan State a lot of credit. They did a nice job with their offensive line and their game planning of getting rid of the ball quick, so we couldn't get there.
Coach, thank you very much.
Yep, thank you guys. Yes. Partly, yeah, it's a tackling drill that we work on every Tuesday, and whenever we go to it, he kind of has a little defiant attitude.
Folks, we have people out on the indoor, I do believe.